NewsX getting you the inside details of BJP's presidential poll candidate. Here, sources telling NewsX that Rajya Sabha MP and educationist Dr. Narendra Damodar Jadhav is most likely to be the BJP's presidential candidate. Yes, Narendra Jadhav, remember, is an Indian economist, educationist, public policy expert, distinguished professor and writer in English, Marathi and Hindi. He's currently a member of the Rajya Sabha. He's previously served as member of the Planning Commission of India and the National Advisory Council as well. From a modest start as a first-generation learner from a poor Dalit family in Mumbai, Dr. Narendra Jadhav grew up first-generation learner from a poor Dalit family in Mumbai. Dr. Narendra Jadhav grew up to be a public figure undaunted by social and economic deprivation, making on his way a distinctive mark in several areas. Jayasilan is joining us live with further details on this news break. Jayasilan, take us through what you can tell us.
Well, Doctor, in an effort to build a consensus on the issue of the presidential election, the BJP is reaching out to the opposition. In the meantime, we realize that, we have got information to believe that Dr. Narendra Jadhav, in fact, has emerged as a strong contender for the post. When NewsX contacted him, he refused to comment. But sources did tell us that, he has got no confirmation from the NDA as yet. He is actually an educationist, a nominated member of the Rajya Sabha. He is a very classic example of how, a Dalit could defy the caste system and make it very big. He shot into the limelight when he penned his biography, his family's biography, which has since been translated in more than a dozen languages. He has written 37 books in 3 languages. He has been the Vice Chancellor of the Pune University. He has been a member of the Planning Commission. At one point, he was also a member of the National Advisory Council of Sonia Gandhi. So if he is selected as the candidate by the NDA, it will be a huge advantage to the BJP, as the Congress, the NCP or the Shiv Sena cannot ignore his candidature.
Indeed, and particularly, of course, Jayasilan, the parties from Maharashtra, the NCP and the Shiv Sena then will support Dr. Jadhav. We saw it in the case of Pratibha Patil, where she was the UPA's nominee, but Shiv Sena supported her candidature because she hailed from Maharashtra. It's going to be quite similar with Dr. Jadhav, with the NCP obviously having then no choice but to support him.
That's right, if he is declared the candidate of the NDA, naturally, we would see a repeat of what happened in 2007, where the Shiv Sena had to actually end up supporting Pratibha Patil. This time the NCP also, of course, will come on board, and so it will be, very easy. It will be cakewalk as it is, it will be a huge advantage to the BJP as well.
And considering that he is not a member of the BJP and the RSS, Jayasilan, there could be a push for consensus which could win favor by a widespread number of opposition parties.
Yes, that particular aspect is what is expected to strike a chord with the Congress and other opposition parties, which has been rooting for a non-BJP person to the top post. So naturally, if he is made the candidate, it will be very difficult for the opposition parties as also the Congress to actually ignore his candidature. That will be a shot in the arm for the BJP.
Indeed. For our viewers just joining us this morning, Jayasilan, just take us through Dr. Narendra Jadhav's life. Who exactly is he? How has he got to where he is? What is his background? Just tell our viewers a bit about him.
Oh, basically, he was born in the slums of Mumbai in a Mahar Dalit family. His story is, literally a story of rags to, to the top position. So he has gone through so much, but then, he went on to become an educationist, a writer, a novelist. And therefore he was respected across the spectrum, which was why, he was included even by the UPA. He was a member of the Planning Commission when Dr. Manmohan Singh was the chairman, and he has headed the University of Pune. He was the Vice Chancellor, in fact. Then he went on to become the national, member of the National Advisory Council of Sonia Gandhi, which was considered to be a super cabinet during the UPA's regime. So, that speaks, the kind of position that he has held, despite having come from a Dalit background and despite having come from the, grassroots. It speaks volumes about the kind of suffering he would have undergone to make it to that position, and also the, his commitment, and his own ability to really make it very big in life.
Then that could perhaps also, allow the Congress party, interestingly, the chief of which today is being met by Rajnath Singh and Venkaiah Naidu also to come on board. The Congress also will then probably support Dr. Jadhav's candidature.
Yeah, they will have no choice. One thing is, I mean, he's a Dalit. As it is, the Congress was rooting for Meera Kumar, who also happens to be a Dalit. And in the case of Dr. Narendra Jadhav, he happened to be a member of the National Advisory Council of Sonia Gandhi, which was actually advising, considered to be a super cabinet during the UPA days. So naturally, having been at such a, having held such a high position, that too in UPA, they will not be able to actually, ignore his candidature. That will be, a huge kind of a setback if they were to do it.
Stay with us, Jayseelan. We are also now being joined by a spokesperson of the Congress, Tom Vadakkan, on NewsX. Mr. Vadakkan, sources telling NewsX that Dr. Narendra Jadhav could be, or rather is most likely to be, the BJP's presidential candidate. How would the Congress see this? How would you see this?
I would request NewsX not to disturb the NDA. They're busy working out a consensus amongst themselves at this juncture. Let them decide first. I mean, it's not so difficult for the opposition parties to declare a candidate as much as for the NDA. Now, this source-based story is emerging almost at an hourly basis. Different channels are putting out different names. The Congress party at this point of time, there is a meeting scheduled with Mr. Venkaiah Naidu today, as I understand. If that meeting comes up and a name or a panel is suggested, we'll take a look at it, but to react on hourly basis on different source-based information would be inappropriate. And I think the NDA in its right should have time to work out a consensus, because there's pressure from Nagpur, there's pressure from different sides.
Is the Congress open to supporting a nominee, a candidate that the government proposes, if it is a candidate of non-RSS, non-BJP credentials? If it's someone who has been respected even by your senior leaders and appointed to various positions, could the Congress support an NDA candidate?
At this point of time, this is not an astrological equation. A, there is no candidate whose name has emerged. B, in democracy, everything is possible. C, it is not just the Congress. Congress will take a view in consultation with all the opposition parties. So give them time and let the NDA find its level by finding out a candidate or a panel of candidates.
Because the opposition, Mr. Vadakkan, hasn't decided its candidate either. You're saying, of course, that there is great difficulty and various pressure quarters which are leading to this squandering in the NDA's mind, but the opposition has not decided on a presidential candidate either, Mr. Vadakkan.
My friend, the problem is not with the Congress-led opposition. The problem is the people who have the arithmetic, which your channel put out yesterday. I don't know whether the arithmetic is perfect or not, but be what it may, assuming what you're saying is right, the obligation is for them to start a consensus. And consensus, as I understand, even meetings are going on right now. So let's wait for them to come out with a name, and then we will evaluate it on the basis of our different political parties and take a call on this. To say A is relevant or B is irrelevant is not the issue.
What do you think of Dr. Jadhav's name, though? Dr. Narendra Jadhav. You know Dr. Narendra Jadhav, surely, Tom Vadakkan. What do you think of his name?
See, it's not a question of my thinking of a particular name or my party's thinking. This is a name that has to go before the entire opposition parties and let them take a call. It is not for me.
But do you feel he would be a good candidate, considering that he is someone who's risen from rags to riches? He was he was born to a poor Dalit family in Mumbai, has achieved so much through his life, was on the NAC at a time when the UPA was in power, was in the Planning Commission appointed by Dr. Manmohan Singh, and now is a Rajya Sabha MP.
See, I don't want to give any value judgments. My leadership is going to consider whatever names are going to be there, and in consultation with the committees that have been formed, that is the appropriate fora to take a call on this. It's not for me or any spokesman to take a call. All of them are very competent. Let me add, whoever emerges are competent people. That's why they are in public domain.
Right.
And yesterday there was another name, and day before yesterday there was other names, and that names that may shock you, may surprise you. Shock you is not the right word, surprise you, because the source-based information, as I know, comes from different sources, and the people who know are not speaking, and the people who don't know are now your sources. So let us control our speculative bid and hold our horses till such time as official name comes up.
Okay, but very quickly, before we leave you, Dr. Varakan, I would like to ask you, Tom Varakan, the fact is that obviously the Congress is open to consensus. If it is an acceptable candidate and if the opposition agrees, as you're saying, then the Congress could support an NDA candidate, considering that Sonia Gandhi has, consented to meet with Rajnath Singh and Venkaiah Naidu.
This process of consultation is the right move, and that is how democracy works, because we are talking about the highest office in this country, and he's just not he will not just be a member of A party, B party or C party. We expect him to be a custodian of the Constitution and will act rightly and in a just manner in variety of issues. So it is therefore very important that that a right name emerges. Either it comes from the opposition or from the leading, the present parties. And
interesting that your ally, the NCP, has agreed to that. Praful Patel told NewsX that if Sharad Pawar is okay with the NDA's candidate, they will support the NDA's candidate.
Well, that's precisely what I said. It all depends on the entire party discussions that happen.
Okay.
Because it's not the question of one party, it's a question of the entire
So the Congress open to
emerged.
supporting the NDA's candidate, but of course will deliberate with other opposition parties before taking a position, is what you're saying. Thank you, Tom Varakan, for joining us, spokesperson of the Congress there. Jayasilan, going back to you, the talks with Sonia Gandhi are precisely for this purpose today, Jayasilan, to build a wider consensus. Obviously, the government wanting to build a consensus amongst various quarters. They realize the numbers may be with them, but they don't even want a token opponent, clearly.
That's right. This is the first ever time in the history of India, a party which has the numbers in its favor has actually, gone ahead and, attempting to reach out to the opposition to build a consensus for the highest post on the land. So this is unprecedented. And what we heard from our sources is that, when Rajnath Singh and Venkaiah Naidu meet, they would first want to gauge the mood of the Congress party and what their suggestions are. And then, of course, take it forward from there. And as it is, Nitish also is likely to have a meeting with Arun Shetty this weekend. So, they have already reached out to 7 parties so far. So the process is on. So, the process of building a consensus is on, and most probably they might be able to reach an understanding.
They might be able to reach an understanding is what is expected, and we can expect, Jayasilan, the name to be announced in just about, less than a week from now. Today is the 16th of June. We believe the government wants to announce the name before the Prime Minister leaves for the United States of America. So are we looking at a final name being announced by the 22nd or 23rd of this month?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Now, Amit Shah at one point did say that, on the 23rd, the nomination will be filed, which means, they would want to ensure that everything is done before the Prime Minister leaves for the United States. So on the 23rd, when the nomination is filed, the Prime Minister himself will be personally present. So, the name, of course, would definitely be clear by then.
And coming back very quickly to Dr. Jadav's candidature, interestingly, we have seen the Congress push, we've learned through sources, Meera Kumar's name. There are others within the opposition party who want others to be the nominee, but Meera Kumar is also a Dalit who the Congress is pushing for president, a candidate who they also made speaker earlier. So Dr. Jadav's name in that particular context could be interesting, Jayasilan, because if Congress is pushing for a Dalit, they surely will not have any other opposition to this other Dalit who has been proposed by the government, Dr. Jadav, a Dalit who has, as you said, achieved rags to riches story.
That's right. All along, since independence, the Congress party, whenever it was a part of a coalition, they have always pushed their candidate for the post of the president. And this time, since they don't have the numbers, the allies of the UPA, they would want to have a non-Congress person, as the candidate representing the joint opposition. So, that was how the name of Gopal Krishna Gandhi, who is beyond politics, his name actually was doing the rounds. And even now, he appears to be the front runner for the post. So, the Congress, in fact, they would want to pitch for a Dalit candidate, thinking that they could just have their